Today in the crypto space, we see the market looking pretty good. Bitcoin right around that $30,000 mark, and Ethereum right around that $1,900 level. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much waiting for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Are we going to higher levels, or are we going to take that dip to finally buy at those lower levels? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to talk about Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to take a look at one altcoin that many of the community members have been talking about, and that project is called JASMY. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, special welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. If you appreciate that strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Guys, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. And of course, if you have any projects that you want me to cover on the channel, let me know in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on those socials. But better yet, join me live at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, currently we see the Bitcoin price going sideways. In the last little while, I would say that we're trying to get some support here, getting maybe a little bit of a bounce after a bit of a dip. That is absolutely normal. However, guys, I feel like Bitcoin, as it does this negative shift to the downside, it is building up confidence for the bears to expect a bigger pullback. Now, if that does happen, I'm afraid that these altcoins might follow Bitcoin to those lower levels, finally coming down to those very, very bottom, red fire sale type of deals. And guys, of course, we're ready to buy the dips at those levels and take advantage of the prices. Right now, Bitcoin is currently looking a bit like it wants to bounce, but no guarantee here. It did break some critical levels of support, and now it's slowly trekking to the downside. So I don't know, maybe a confirmation high, a lower high, and then finally roll over. Of course, we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin price just very quickly so that we can get an edge on this market, use it as a leading indicator, and then we're going to jump right into the project for today, the JASMY coin. JASMY is a really interesting project, guys. I was looking at it for the last little while, and I found it to be an interesting idea. I like its narrative. I like where it's coming from. I like the team. It's due for a deep dive, definitely 100%. Guys, go check out that Discord. On the Discord, I do have a section there, a channel where you can request some projects for deep dive consideration. So if you're interested, join the community. It's a great place, a great group of people there trying to spread alpha throughout the day. But better yet, you can get involved and make any requests that you're interested in. But I do feel like JASMY is one of those projects that deserves a deep dive, given the fact that its idea is basically an ecosystem to support the storage of personal information. And we know that personal information is definitely one of those key components in our everyday life. Personal information is everywhere. It's just because we are very digital nowadays. Everything's very digital. Everything is very offline, online, basically on a network, on a cloud-based system. And all our data is being shared constantly amongst many different applications and networks and platforms, that at the end of the day, this is an idea where it could give us a little bit of privacy or a little bit of security with regards to our personal information. And then at the end of the day, JASMY does have some good benefits with regards to security, but it's involving and incorporating a business to business type of deal here, where businesses can get involved and put the personal information that they request or that they require from their customers on some sort of network or blockchain in this case, where it can keep it secure. I find it to be really, really interesting. And with that being said, guys, JASMY is a very, very important concept with regards to JASMY is the fact that it is very, very small. Okay, it is a very small market cap type of deal here. So we got to be prepared for the volatility. Okay, and there's a little bit of hype happening in the last little while. I let the hype die down just a bit, and it's still kind of holding steady. So I feel that maybe, right, especially as we've been kind of retracing, JASMY needs a little bit of our attention. But one thing to consider is that there is a token unlock around the corner that could put a bit of negative pressure. Not a token unlock, sorry guys, a token lockup, where a certain portion, actually a good portion of the tokens, are going to be reserved for business to business solutions. Okay, and what that means there is that a lot of the circulating supply, or the potential circulating supply, is going to be removed from the market, creating a supply shock. And in that case, supply and demand, that should bring up, some sort of shock into the market. Hopefully a definitely a good one. And you should be, gearing up with a potential buy position. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, guys. Make sure that you do your fundamental research. Go check it out. I think the team is solid. I think the idea is decent. And the overall concepts that they have going on there is pretty good. So a lot of transparency there. Remember that there are two websites, the global version and the actual Japanese version. Obviously, the Japanese version is going to be a little bit difficult if you're not Japanese to kind of navigate. However, guys, check out that global version. There's the white papers, everything is there. And of course, I'm thinking about a deep dive very soon. Let me know in the comment section below if you feel like a deep dive on JASMY is necessary. Feel free to join the Discord. Of course, that's a better place to actually get engaged with that type of conversation. All right, let's continue here. What's going on with this general market? We've been looking at some very, very bearish scenarios in the last little while, talking about dips, talking about lower price targets, and we've been coming down just a bit here. And we currently see the market kind of hesitating, going sideways for the last little while. We are getting some good moves to the upside with some of these altcoins, like Doge is definitely outperforming the market in the last little while. Up 14% in 7 days is quite bullish, but we know why. Twitter rebranding and some speculation with the fact that maybe with this entire rebranding, Twitter might be, or X in this case, the everything, app, whatever you want to call it. In this case, it might integrate Doge, maybe Bitcoin, or some other forms of payment systems. As Elon did mention that it could be a total package for everything, including financial transactions and all of that. So Dogecoin may be listed in the future, and this is what it is. It's forward. The market is forward thinking, trying to think about what's possible for Dogecoin. I do feel like Dogecoin does have a good layer of fundamentals as long as it's associated to Elon. But we know that Elon, he's a very, how could I say, a person that introduces a lot of humor into his decisions and not always very, very serious. It could be a tactic. It could be, just something, part of his character. But do we really want to be trading based on this? Holding a bit of Doge is fine, but be prepared to take a bit of profits, guys. I'm a holder of Doge, of course. I have a decent bag, but am I betting the farm? No, I'm not. And am I going to be taking profits? 100%. Right now, we're in double-digit gains on Doge in the last 7 days. I'm considering to scale out just a little bit and buy back at a retracement. Dogecoin coming down, Solana looking a bit strong here, potentially getting a bounce 5% to the upside. That's really healthy. I like that. The Solana ecosystem maybe picking up, making that good comeback. But retracements throughout the market are very, very evident here. You can see that, we do have some good bounces, no doubt. Filecoin taking a huge retracement in the last little while, so maybe a continuation to the downside. I'm looking at Filecoin, I'm looking at Arweave. In fact, I'm more interested in Arweave given the fact that it is a lower cap project. So I want that volatility, I want that momentum to the upside to give me the gains that I need. And the only way to get that is to get into projects that have some growth, some movement, some potential growth or future growth. We need that space, right? If it's already a large cap, you're not going to get it. So we got to be very aware of our risk tolerance and our risk profile. I like the risk. I like being a bit of a degen because, again, the volatility is there, but it is coupled up with great risk management. You need to have good risk management in order to get into these riskier projects. Dips throughout the markets, guys. Nothing really that interesting other than, be prepared to buy. Be prepared to scale in as you see good levels of support. Look at stocks, STX, based on that Bitcoin narrative. Right now is not really doing much. pretty much sideways, nothing interesting. But what happened to all the hype? It kind of died out, right? So maybe now is the time to look at potential buy positions, because as the market kind of reaches its equilibrium, the market's not interested, the volatility kind of hangs back. All we need is now is a nice accumulation phase and potentially gets a nice pumps to the upside. Some of these projects, that's what they do, guys. Actually, a lot of the projects kind of hang back, wait a little bit for the market to kind of focus their attention on something else, another project and another narrative, and then all of a sudden the momentum shifts right back. Look at Injective, not looking the greatest, down 12%. So these are still very red days, guys. Very, very, very red days. Radix getting a 2% pump to the upside, but nothing crazy. I still feel like Radix is poised for some sort of reversal very soon. I'm paying attention to Radix, of course. Maybe we'll take a look at Radix in tonight's live stream. Speaking of the live streams, guys, I'm fully aware that, I've been putting a few pre-records out there during my live stream sessions, given the fact that I am traveling. But tonight is going to be a typical live stream. At 7:30 Eastern, we'll be talking about crypto news and price action there. Feel free to join. Make sure that you subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss out. But I'm going to put Radix on the list because I'm interested. But of course, any requests by you guys, I'll put them in priority at the top of the list. Okay, so Kava getting a little bit of a bounce. I like Kava just for the fact that it retraced healthily. A lot of good hype, a lot of good talk about it. So why not? I'm looking for those retracements. I'm looking for those good levels of support. A good indication right now is that we got a 4.8% little bounce, and that means that we could be looking for maybe some sideways price action. Let's see if we break any trends, any structures, and Kava would be ready to go, in my opinion, as far as the retracement goes. What else do we got here? Few dips, nothing crazy. What's happening with Casper? Another one that's been retracing a bit of a retracement. You can see that. Eyeballing it, looks like we're getting close to the golden pocket, 618. So could be a good time to consider Mina Protocol, 1%, maybe a good time as well. We covered Mina a while back. When did we cover Mina Protocol? Let's go see. A couple weeks ago or last week sometime. Mina Protocol, where are you? Where is Mina Protocol? Right here, 2 weeks ago to be exact. Yeah, for me, Mina Protocol, it could be at a good accumulation phase, and we talked about Radix as well, so go check that out. My Kanto trade was in some good profits, guys. I got into a long position. It was great scenario here for Kanto, so I'm scaling out of my position very slowly, almost all out of taking profits there. What else do we got? Yeah, the Games for a Living project, guys. That thing is never pulling back. It's always keep on grinding to the upside. In fact, right now it's pretty range bound, and I feel like overall some of these projects should be rolling over. Where's Caspa? Caspa still defying gravity, but in my opinion, this is not the time to FOMO. I think that it's creating right now in a scenario where we could be getting a confirmation high, a lower high, and that could be the ultimate indication where maybe we're going to start breaking structure. Okay, guys, so we're waiting very patiently for Caspa to lose its bullish momentum to the upside. Guys, I'm only talking about short term. I know there's a lot of Caspa bulls, and I'm one of them. I want Caspa to be my largest bag, but I got to be real here on this channel. That's one of my main priorities, is to be real. I don't want to be basically a moon boy, and I don't want to be a perma bear. I want to be somebody that can ride the ebb and flows of the market and switch positions, switch lenses, switch stances, offensive and defensive, whenever the market tells me that I need to. Right now on Caspa, I feel short-term offensive, meaning short-term pump, sure. It's too late for that. We talked about this short-term pump. Now I think that if you haven't got into a long position for this little rally up, it wouldn't be time to get into a long position right now. It's a bit risky, although it could happen. Caspa has been defying gravity. It's been doing its own thing. So obviously, it's all on you. No financial advice. Do your own research. Do your own thing. But my opinion is, right now, to get into a fresh long is a bit dangerous. I would be looking for a bigger retracement and being very patient here on Caspa to scale in. The very similar strategy to what I did for Render, and Render right now has been pulling back slow and steady, but now it's below that $2 mark at $1.75, and I'm interested in that lower level. So I'm going to wait for Caspa to do the same thing. showing me that weakness, come down, roll over, go up, distribution type of phase, and then we'll get in. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin. What's happening here with Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin took a bit of a dip. Now, you see that we do have that horizontal. We usually look for horizontal levels of support, resistance, using supply and demand to give us that strength of that support. And right now, we did see that we came down to a good level of support at the bottom of the volume gap and got a quick touch and reaction. Guys, perfect horizontal support right there. Now, could we expect a continuation to the downside? In my opinion, yes. I'm expecting a daily continuation. However, a short-term bounce to the upside based on the 4-hour time frame could be due, and a little bit of a rejection so that we continue to the downside is very possible. Just as a back test of this breakup to the upside, you can see that we did break up with some good strength, and then kind of coming back down to test these lower levels is absolutely healthy to get that confirmation. Right now, I'm still feeling at about $27,000. I would start to be looking for a potential support, but ultimately, guys, I want to see the daily momentum oscillator, the RSI, to fully reset to oversold territory before I get bullish. All right, guys, let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. We see the daily obviously broke down just a little bit, nothing to be scared of, but on the 4-hour, we are definitely getting into oversold territory on the RSI. So for me, I feel like getting into a fresh long just right now is not yet. I would like to see the RSI get a little bit more into oversold conditions, and then I get into a little bit more of a confident scenario. We do have a bigger volume gap that it does extend a lot lower here on the 4-hour. I don't mark up the volume gaps on the 4-hour. Okay, I only do that on the daily, but nonetheless, you can see here on the 4-hour, we do have this huge gap that is kind of forming here based on supply and demand. So if we exclude this price action and we only include this right up, we have no price action here on this right up. So we could definitely come down and back test this level at about $27,000 or give or take. Okay, so a few price targets right around in here at the bottom of the range for me would be absolutely normal. Now, could we get a bounce now? Possible. Could we back test to higher levels? Sure. But honestly, I would like to see this momentum oscillate, the RSI get fully reset to oversold conditions before I get into any type of thesis, because right now there's nothing really, no edge other than, okay, we did break a range. It could be the potential beginning of a continuation to the downside, given the fact that we broke the sideways range, right? Now, a bit of a back test to confirm this as resistance, right around this level. Let's put this a little bit longer sideways so you can see a little bit of a back test here, maybe hitting the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, and then finally rolling over. You can see that we're getting EMA crosses, guys. Those crosses are not good on the 4-hour. We're getting crosses 50, the 20, and the 200 are all crossing into a bearish stance on the 4-hour time frame. So for me, a short-term dip is still very viable. However, a 4-hour little rally or a little response here based even on the 1-hour. I don't trade the 1-hour, but you can see that we're almost overbought. So this is getting to a scenario where, I still feel like the idea here should be coming down short. Now, getting into a fresh short right now is a bit dangerous because, like I said, it could be that we get a bit of a response and come back up just a little bit. So the time to go short was right around here as we were breaking down. Okay, red arrows. This is where I took profit. This is where you should have started thinking about going short. I did have the short trade set up here early on. And I did remove it because we got into profits, and that was it. So right now we're currently in a scenario where the trend could be to the downside. Lower lows, lower highs is around, it's on its way, I believe. A little bit of an impulse to the upside, create a lower high, and then lower low, lower high, lower low, and then all of a sudden you can see ourselves potentially getting down to this range. Now, big picture, of course, guys, you know what I have to say. I'm still not convinced about this bottom right here until we back test the $20,000 level. And it's very possible. Now, it's very possible that we don't. But am I going to wait around and not expect it? Not a chance. If it does come down, I'm going to take full advantage of this scenario to buy heavily. Okay, this is where I'm looking for a heavy buy order in preparation for the bull run. Now, if it doesn't happen, no worries, no worries. I do have capital reserved. New projects are coming out on a daily basis. I believe that the majority of the good projects have yet to be released based on market conditions. We have the FOMC meeting today, so pay attention to that one. It's at about, I think, 1 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. But pay attention to that. Very likely that we get another interest rate hike, given that, the inflation data is still up and all that nonsense. But nonetheless, what we have to anticipate that there's lots of volatility with that. So we got to kind of hang tight. I wouldn't trade it. I'm not trading it. I want to be very, very neutral here. Stop losses get smashed and on all of that, and liquidations get smashed during that time. It's very, very risky and gambly. So for me, I'd rather hang tight and just watch and see what the market sentiment is all about so that I can find a good position going forward. But I still feel that if the Bitcoin doesn't get to that level, we are going to get some good projects, some good marketing efforts out of new projects that are going to be coming around and deploying once we see the traditional markets showing us a bit of confidence. Right now, we haven't seen tech stocks do very well. We have seen traditional stocks do well, but at the end of the day, all these FOMC meetings with interest rate hikes and all that kind of stuff, that keeps a damper on our confidence with regards to our economy. And don't expect risk on assets to do very, very, very well or extremely well as long as that risk is still around. So be careful here, guys. And my opinion is that we need a little bit of confidence still in our traditional economy, meaning, interest rates and all of that needs to kind of chill out before we can actually get bullish. And it gives us time. Guys, you can see Bitcoin kind of roll over here, get down to these levels, and I want to make sure that I have capital to deploy. I don't want to be left, with no dry powder at that level. So I know that sounds like really bearish, but I'd rather have that in mind and be prepared so that if it does come, I am not blindsided. I am ready to go. But in the meantime, preparing for this little dip right here to about 27,000. I'll buy in, and then we'll see where we go from here with regards to Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin is going to be going to any much higher levels. I know a lot of people thinking $50,000 Bitcoin. Guys, that's a bull market type of rally up, in my opinion. I think Bitcoin did a great job getting us up from the bottom, 100% from the bottom. I think it's due for a bit of a break, a bit of a retracement. Think about it. Even if we get down to the 50 Fibonacci retracement, golden pocket 618. Right, that's a 60% retracement from the top, which means that we could come down to 20,000 just based on golden pocket. Okay, so be careful here, being too bullish. I like to be both bullish and bearish when the time is right, based on risk management. Right now, it's really risky to be a bull, in my opinion. Okay, and if we do get that retracement, expect that I'm going to be looking into altcoins quite heavily. I'm going to be buying altcoins for sure. That's a bit risky. However, that altcoins haven't run up yet. We didn't get an altcoin season yet. So I'm still preparing. I'm still preparing for that altcoin season. All right. So speaking of altcoins, let's take a look at JASMY. JASMY is the project of today. I want to take a look at that. A lot of people have been asking me about JASMY on my socials, on YouTube, on all the socials. They've been very, very active about this JASMY project, and of course, it's an interesting one. The whole idea here behind JASMY is to provide a solution to privacy, information. Personal information, which I find obviously is a necessity. This whole cat and mouse game with regards to identity and personal information, and integrating businesses that require and want to collect personal information from customers. Is there a business solution that will allow them to do it in a very safe way? And blockchain technology does offer you the safety aspect. And JASMY offers a blockchain that basically can host this information and reward those individuals that have access to this network. So in this case, JASMY, there's one thing that we got to note. There is a token lockup that is right around the corner, I think fourth quarter. And the lockup just basically locks up a bunch of tokens, a massive amount of tokens for business-to-business solutions. Okay, so for the businesses that want to get involved in the ecosystem, those are going to go towards there. So there's going to be a bit of a supply shock. So what happens when supply decreases, guys? The price might do some really interesting things here. And we can see that we're right now, as we speak on the daily, we are on the bottom of the range. We are currently, again, testing these levels. Those green arrows, guys, those green arrows tell you, risk to reward ratios absolutely healthy here. We came down to this level before. We've got into a bullish divergence scenario here on the daily. Just check it out right here. And the story is important because this was the bullish divergence that you really want to see play out, right? Lower lows, and the RSI is moving in the opposite direction. So for me on the daily, this was a good beginning to a potential continuation up. A good sign of strength for the upside. Now we did get a full reset to overbought conditions, and then we did come down for a retracement. We back tested it with a slightly, lower high, fine, and a slightly lower high on the RSI, and came back down, oversold once again. And this is where we are now. This oversold condition, or this price action, in my opinion, is a back test to this. Basically getting a confirmation. Did we create a lower low? Not just yet. Can we still? Possibly. Okay. The likelihood, in my opinion, is very low, given the fact that we already got into the oversold condition once again. Let me make this bigger so we can see. You can see the last time we got oversold was here. Now we're oversold again. We got a nice rally up, and look where we are right now. We're pretty much in the chop zone while the price is testing almost as low as the previous low. So that means right now is not a bad time to scale in, because after this consolidation at this level, we could potentially get to overbought conditions. And the overbought condition could take us straight up to range highs, previous highs, look 1, 2, and maybe get to this level right here at the top of the gap at the red arrow once again to take some more profit. Now, I would front run that, in my opinion. I would front run it. I would take a bit of profit on the short-term spot positions, take a bit as early as possible. If we get a nice impulse to the upside after this little confirmation low, in my opinion, I would take profits a bit earlier, front run it at about 0.007. But long term, we got to zoom out. Big picture, you got to zoom out. Look at this, okay? Look at this volume gap right above. Once we break above 0.013, so 1.3 cents, you can see that we don't have much volume to the upside. We don't have much resistance. We could basically smash right through all these targets and get to those higher levels. We are going sideways here, trying to find support here on the JASMY price. And for me, this is very, very good because you can put a actual target for risk to reward ratio very clearly. If we break below the previous low, you can put your stop loss. You can accumulate right within this range. And we are in a great accumulation range right around here, okay? And your risk to reward ratio, okay, this is very ambitious. Let's be a little bit more modest, because I'm just trying to say here, big picture, if we were to break up based on the supply shock and all that good stuff, fundamentals, let's say we take profit right here, you're still looking at 200%. Okay, so some good scenarios here, and I would say that this would be a good area to potentially expect a bit of resistance, given the fact that that's where the volume gap begins. And that's where the bears are going to want to protect that scenario. People are going to want to take profits. But, those volume gaps, they work very, very well. Now, what about down here? Right, red arrow scenario, that's still 89%. So guys, there's some good scenarios here. The risk to the reward ratio is not as healthy as it was if you make it higher, but you're going to have to mitigate risk, and you're going to have to think about what type of targets you're looking for. Like right here, you can improve your ratio by saying, okay, if we break below this wick, let me zoom in, this wick right here. If we break below this wick, that means we're going to come down to test this wick, which means that we're going to potentially create a lower low. So guys, this is the way you kind of mitigate your risk. You're at a 4-to-1 ratio right now, just by trailing up this stop loss just a little bit higher, right? And obviously you can mitigate your risk by getting an entry that's closer to the invalidation as best as possible. So let's see if we can continue to the downside on the short term. Let's get into the 4-hour and see what's going on here. We're in the chop zone on the 4-hour. You can see the RSI is pretty much in the 50. We came from oversold, we came from overbought, and we never got into extreme levels. I still feel like a little bit of a grind to the downside is still very possible. Obviously, nothing guaranteed here. We're very choppy right here. Very, very, very choppy. A bit of a position is not bad, to be honest. The MACD is looking like it's ready to go up to those higher levels. Look at that. EMA cross to the upside, some green histogram bars, and we're trying to get out of this bearish control zone. So it looks like maybe a bit of an impulse to the upside is very, very, very near here for JASMY. But again, guys, you got to look big picture. If we start breaking these bottoms, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. It could look like a bearish continuation pattern, a bear flag, right? So if we kind of pen it out here for the next little while, a continuation pattern is very, very viable. So in my opinion, what we're looking for is reversal. What we're looking for is some good signs of a market structure that is showing us that we are potentially creating a pivot point. So we're looking for inverse head and shoulders, cup and handles, W formations, and of course some signs of bullish divergence at the bottom of the range, so that we can build some confidence here that the bears have lost their edge, their strength to push the price down. So far so good. It's not bad. Even if you connected all of this, right, from here to here, you can see the divergence is actually following through, right? We came from a downward sloping bullish divergence, follow through. It looks okay, guys. I would be interested in accumulating right around this area, taking a bit of profits right at the top of the range, close enough to that red arrow. Front run it just a little bit, guys, in my opinion. You don't want to wait till the last minute. And then what I would do is make sure that I leave a little bit of that capital, a good maybe 50% of your trade. So take out your initial investment and let the rest ride to the upside, because we could see a nice pump from JASMY to get to those higher levels. I like it. It's a good one. I think that we're going to have to keep an eye on it for the next little while, as the bear market retracements are quite deep and volatile. We could have plenty of opportunities to accumulate here on JASMY and many other projects for that matter. Guys, if you've appreciated what I offered you in this video, do the channel a huge favor. Slap that like button. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Of course, that Discord group is there. Great alpha throughout the day, good setups, good community sharing a lot of their ideas and fundamentals and all that good stuff. So go check it out. Guys, I'm live at 7:30 Eastern tonight, so feel free to join. It's a great place to request any projects that you're interested in, and we'll take a look at that charts. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.